Ed, you've gotten, I don't know, destroyed probably isn't the right word, but criticized pretty repeatedly about this whole driver's license issue. How do you think you've gotten past that at this point, and people are focusing more on issues again with what you have to say? Or
I think so, but look, if you run for governor or any other high statewide office, they will go through your whole background and try to figure out what's the worst thing that they can say about you. And they'll look at your taxes, and if you've been divorced, or real estate deals, or if you're a lawyer, people you represented in cases. And I can tell you they did that with me. I've been a lawyer for 21 years. They went through cases that I handled, my record in law enforcement as an FBI agent, any votes that I took, and the worst thing that they came up with was that I let my driver's license be expired. And I wish they couldn't find anything, but they're always going to find something, and I guess that's too bad. The question is just, how superficial are we going to be? If that is a crucial issue for the future of Ohio, or if somebody's going to claim that, I would just say that I respectfully disagree. If we go through Governor Kasich's record, whether it's in office or out of office, I think we can say things that are a lot more impactful and serious. If you think back 4 years ago, what was Governor Kasich criticized for the most? It was probably the fact that he worked for Lehman Brothers, ran their operations in Ohio, and the bank became a millionaire off of it, while the bank lost hundreds of millions of dollars in public pension money just in Ohio. To me, that's a much more serious issue. But all I can do as a candidate is talk about things that I care about, things that I think would actually affect a typical family. And I have a very good record of public service, and the things that I'm being criticized over have nothing to do with my public service, haven't affected my public service, haven't affected any single person, as opposed to losing hundreds of millions of dollars of pension money, which affected a lot of people's pension funds. But look, politics is not fair. I didn't think that before I got into this, and I sure don't now. I mean, there's sometimes you get stuck talking about something you'd rather not talk about. That's the way it goes. If you can't take it, if you can't take the criticism, then you need to find a less stressful profession. But I understand that's the way it goes. And there's just times in American politics where somebody does something really egregious and gets away with it, and people don't talk about it. And there's times where something is incredibly silly and inconsequential, and people do talk about it. And that's, if those are the cards, I'll just play them best I can, and try to run a campaign that's substantive, and try to, I was talking to some local media about the Toledo water situation, and I was noting that a certain publication, not one of your publications, but a certain publication in Ohio had done more coverage of what you mentioned than they did of the entire situation with the Toledo water crisis, where 500,000 people didn't have safe drinking water for 72 hours. I suppose I can be blamed for that, but again, the quality of our democracy, how substantive it is something that a lot of people have a stake in. Just a quote that I've been saying a lot recently. I just finished a book by Doris Kearns Goodwin, The Bully Pulpit. It's about, as you probably know, it's about Taft and Roosevelt and the journalists that covered them for the 19th going into the 20th century. And one of the leading journalists of the day had a quote that I thought was so great, and I wrote it down and I keep repeating that, and that is that the vitality of democracy depends on the common people understanding complex issues. That's so true, because if we're not having discussions about complex issues and how they affect real people's lives, then the system kind of becomes a joke. Now, who has a responsibility for that? I do. The governor does. That's one reason he should participate in debates, which he refuses to do. But we have a responsibility to talk about substance and open ourselves up to questions and debates. The voters have a responsibility to inform themselves, and journalists have a responsibility to cover things that are meaningful. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Governor was in here earlier, and he told us that his campaign offered you guys 2 debates and you turned him down.
Not true.
And then
Not true. But look, here's a perfect opportunity for him. If he will tell us where the debates are and when he would like to have them, we will be there. You know, I'm glad that he finally said that publicly, because he generally will not address any very few issues. But that really says something, because that is just flat out not true. There have been 7 or 8 institutions, some of them are journalistic entities, some of them are civic organizations, that offered to conduct, to hold a debate. We accepted all of them unconditionally. All of them. And what the governor knows is, he knows it doesn't look good if he says he refuses a debate. If he is still willing to do it, if he told you today that his campaign offered 2 debates and we said no, if he will tell us where they are and who sponsored them, we will be there. We still have 30 days to go. There's still plenty of time to do it. So he has a perfect opportunity. His campaign spokesperson came out after they refused to do any debates and just said they're moving on. They said that 45 days or so before the election. They have no intention of participating in debates. And by the way, it was a decision, and I think a really contemptible one, that was made basically by the entire Republican ticket. I think with the exception of Dave Yost, who participated in 1 debate that I know of up in the Cleveland area. Mike DeWine has not agreed to debate David Pepper. John Husted has not agreed to debate Nina Turner. Josh Mandel has not agreed to debate. This is not. We're all challengers. We've all been behind in the polls at different times. We're all running against incumbents. We would all like to have debates, and we've all agreed to them. So, you know, if the governor is saying something new and would like to participate in them, I think that would be good for the whole process.
You talked a little bit about transparency.